GA, your former team, they've been blazing hot on this
Oh, the Blazers.
Yeah,
baby.
Sir. 7-game road trip. They've won 5 of 6. Sunday, they went to the hood to pick up that win.
Yes, they did. They have been impressive. I'm not ready to say that they are a championship caliber team, but they continue to find ways to win games, and they're going to be a challenge.
Portland in Charlotte. Kemba Walker.
That dude ready. He ready. That dude ready.
We normally see him scoring, right? How about a nice dime and Miles Bridges out of where? Oh.
Was that Sparty?
Yeah, that's the Sparty. Got to give him credit, though. The young fella's got some hops.
Stayed an extra year. Looks like it paid off. That's a Diesel's Dunk nominee. Yusuf Nurkic, 26 points, 15 rebounds, 6 assists. Just a monster inside.
That's the guy who's really changed things for the Portland Trailblazers, if you ask me, GA. They've been looking for somebody else to step up. Big fella has been doing it quite a bit here lately, and to me, that bodes well for Terry Stotts into the postseason. They got to have him play at this level.
The inside out, and then Damian Lillard find that space off that Nurkic pick. The second half, more of the same. Lillard, 23 points again. Nurkic with the pick. Lillard creating some space. Kemba Walker on the other end. You know we're going to always have him in a Charlotte highlight. Get to the basket, nowhere to go. Somehow gets it to go. 18 points, 12 assists for Walker. And Tony Parker, he's been good for Charlotte this season. Knocking it down.
I tell you what, they've had some guys that have played a lot of good basketball. They just have struggled to win basketball games and get to a point where you look at them as a playoff team.
And you saw that graphic on the screen, 15 points in 15 minutes for Rodney Hood, and he kept it going. He really hasn't had a breakout performance for Portland, and this was it.
You got to have theme music when you're bowling like this. And you know what? Rodney Hood is one of those guys, Jay, that a subtle move sometimes at the trade deadline, it doesn't look like much, turns out to be a pivotal move for a certain team that needs a guy to fit that exact role.
Great point.
27 points for Rodney Hood, 10-point win for the Portland Trailblazers, and as we showed you before this highlight, team going on a road trip, 7 straight games, and they have been rolling in doing so. Here is Hood after the victory.
I was in those huddles. How did it feel to have Coach Stotts drawing up plays just for you?
I mean, it was great. You know what I mean? That's having that confidence in me. You know, it stemmed back to last game, you know, when I was struggling real bad and Coach kept calling my number. So, you know, I was due to have a big game, and credit to my teammates for Dame and CJ. You know, they're the scorers to allowing me to keep it going.
5-1 on this road trip. How much are you enjoying playing with your new team?
I mean, I love it. I love it. We're playing great basketball. We're playing together. You know, we're playing defense. And, you know, we need to close this out. It's tough to play in Memphis. You know, it's a long road trip, so we need this one bad.
So Rodney Hood now on his 3rd team in 4 years in the league, and he got traded in early February to Portland from the Cleveland Cavaliers, was just averaging 6 points a game in 9 games. This a breakout performance for him. Is this exactly what the Trailblazers were hoping for when they got him, and what he was hoping for when he got there to have a game like this in the breakout?
Absolutely. And GA mentioned this when I walked through the door tonight about sometimes a player is in one situation and it doesn't work for him for whatever reason. Not the right fit, not the right time. And other times you just happen on to the one situation where it unlocks your game and allows you to play to your strengths. Portland, GA, this situation for Rodney Hood is ideal. They've been searching for a guy to do exactly what he's giving them right now, and it's a perfect marriage of player and team at the right time.
You hit it on the head, and I think also for him, I think he's finally come to the realization of who he is as a player and how he can be successful, and I think it's a real good fit for what Portland needed. They wanted some spark off their bench, some firepower, and if he can give them some of that consistently, now they start with Nurkic the way he's playing. Now you start taking this team, I think, a little more seriously.
Well, another one of your former teams, the New York Knicks.
Okay.
Once a Knick, always a Knick.
That's right.
Facing the Clippers, but apparently defense optional for this New York Knicks team. Landry Shamet, you see him wide open? That's not a good idea. He's in the league because he can knock down those open shots. Look at him, wide open, Sekou.
Yeah, that's what you call a slow closeout. And that usually gets a 3 dropped in your face. And you know what, Shamet, another one of these young guys, GA, when you look at it, the skill set, perfect for today's NBA, found another good spot in terms of getting moved and then finding a niche with this Clippers team.
6 3-pointers in the first 10 minutes for Shamet. Then the Clippers, they made 14 three-pointers in the first half, ties a franchise record. We see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander getting in on the action and Danilo Gallinari doing the same. And there's Shai to the basket.
That was a beautiful finish there. And you talked about this Clippers team, lights out from three, 54% from beyond, and they just, I call these zone games. We always talk about a player being in the zone. Well, tonight the Clippers team was in the zone with how they shot the basketball from three.
So the Clippers roll to the victory, 128-107, and they are a team, you see, okay, Tobias Harris traded. You think, okay, at some point they're going to no, they're remaining in this conversation in the 7th spot out west, 36-29.
Steve Ballmer was in the building week before last, explaining to anybody who would listen, they were not going away. They were trying to solidify a playoff spot. His team is playing like it. They're doing exactly what he said they would. They're going out and grinding night after night. Can you imagine anything sweeter for the Los Angeles Clippers than to make the playoffs and to keep that other team in L.A. out of the postseason? Yes. It's a dream season for them.
It's also kind of a catch-22, right? Because this is a team that they're set up from a cap standpoint in the offseason to go after some A-list guys. So if you're a playoff team, that you would assume is going to be more appealing to a guy that has a chance to be a franchise caliber player. The flip of that, though, had they maybe tanked a little bit and struggled, they might have a chance to get a top 5 pick, which could also bode well for their future.
So, but here's the thing, Jay. When you say a team tanking, right, typically you're saying we're going to put young players out there that aren't ready to win in the league. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, starting rookie at point guard when you're bringing Lou Will off the bench. Then you have a guy like Landry Shamet who's still trying to figure out how to defend in this league. It looks as if the roster that they're putting out there is fitting that formula, but they're finding ways to win. How is that?
Well, I think it starts with Doc Rivers. And this, go back to last year after the Blake Griffin trade, and most people wrote this team off, and they just continue to find ways to win basketball games, have a lot of success. I think also the emergence of Harrell, how good he's been. Lou Williams continues to play at a high level. And even though they've now lost Tobias Harris, when you have a healthy Danilo Gallinari, he's a guy that you can run your offense through. So, you know, they still can put points up. They play unselfishly. They compete defensively. And they now have an expectation every night they take the floor to win. And that's a really positive thing to have in a young team. When they're not out there trying to prove how good they are individually, they're about the business of winning.
Yeah, and that's a great point that you mentioned. Danilo Gallinari missed all but 21 games last year, so it's great to see him out there and healthy. Two young teams trying to come up in this league. The Bulls and Hawks, they had an incredible 4-overtime game on Friday night, and Trae Young scored 49 points with 16 assists. That's the third most points by a rookie since that 1976-1977 NBA-ABA merger. Zach LaVine, Otto Porter, Laurie Marketing all scored over 30. First time a trio of teammates did that in a game since Harden, Westbrook, and Durant back in OKC in 2012. Just an incredible offensive explosion between those teams. Best thing about that game, less than 48 hours later, we got an encore between these two teams. There's Zach LaVine. We know how talented he is, but there's a bit of an issue. Timeout is called. Trae Young, Chris Dunn bump into each other. Dunn shoves Young. So we got two texts. Warranted there? What do you think?
Yeah.
Looks like light.
Well, I mean,
Oh, there it is.
Dunn got a tech for a reason there with the shove. I don't know why he shoved it. I mean, it didn't look like Trae Young was trying to show him up, you know, on that follow-through.
Well, you know what? I know why he's shoving. Trae Young got 40-something. Last time they played.
3 straight games with over 30 for Trae Young. And he finished this one with 18 points and 5 assists beneath those averages because of this.
Woo!
Young, great shot, but he gets called for another technical and is ejected for taunting. GA, where you at on this?
I mean, I think this is a bit absurd from the standpoint. Look, you can't tee a guy. First of all, Dunn's not looking at him, so you can't say that he's antagonizing, and he didn't say anything. And I get it that they had some skirmishes earlier, but you know, you should try to give the benefit of the doubt to the players. You see Zach LaVine there with a nice finish.
12 points for LaVine, also not the same explosion that we saw on Friday night's
A lot
game.
of gas, maybe. A little lot of gas today.
Not for Alex Lynn. Turp alert, knocking it down from outside. 28 points, 9 rebounds, 5 for 8 from three-point range. for the center. And Larry Markkinen, another big guy with a nice soft touch around the basket.
I'll tell you what, he is quietly becoming one of the best young studs in the league. He has been terrific for this Bulls team.
A last chance for the Bulls with 15 seconds left. Markkinen gonna get the rock and get a look. Oh, no bueno.
Ooh, short arm.
That's a wide open look he was looking for.
And the Hawks get to win 123-118. Again, Trae Young not there at the conclusion of the game. Here he is on his ejection.
I played a lot of flair, played a lot of energy, emotion, have fun. And for me, I was just, I hit a shot, and I just looked in the arena.
Was there anything said at all?
No, I didn't say anything.
It was just a look.
Yeah, it was just a look. I didn't really say anything.
What was your feeling about getting ejected? I mean, were you surprised at the call?
I mean, they made the call. I just got to live with it. There's nothing more I can really say. They made the call. I had to live with it. I looked at someone, and that was about it.
Can LeBron James make history on Monday night? Well, we discuss him and the GOAT debate next on Game Time. Michael Jordan, the all-time scoring list, and 40 to pass his airness. LeBron averaging a triple-double since coming back from his groin injury 11 games ago. GA, the numbers can't be denied for LeBron James. You played against Michael Jordan. It seems fair now, after almost 16 full seasons for LeBron. Where does LeBron's legacy stack up against Jordan's legacy?
Well, listen.
They're different players.
They're different players, and Michael is regarded as the best to ever play the game. I would argue you'd have to put Kareem in that conversation as well when you look at what he's accomplished. But LeBron James, in my mind, has clearly put himself on the Mount Rushmore of basketball in terms of his accomplishments, both collectively and individually. I mean, the numbers are staggering. And, you know, those are two guys, and I've said this all along. Look, each guy's place within the game is secure, just like all the greats are. But it's more for me about just appreciating the journey. I mean, you go back and think about when this guy came in as the anointed one out of high school, and for him to have had the career he's had, I'd have to say he's probably overachieved. Because even when you say a guy's going to be the next great thing, you could not have ever imagined that he could have put forth the resume that he has in his time in the league. But for that injury, you know, we still might be raving about him. But those 16 games being out and how this team has played here down the stretch, there's a lot of doubt and concern right now in Lakerland.
Yeah, I think we forget about the expectation, Chris, is what LeBron had to play underneath. Kobe didn't have greatest of all time expectation. Michael Jordan didn't enter the league with anybody talking about him one day becoming the greatest player of all time. LeBron's the first guy I can remember who came into the league since probably Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with that kind of expectation that you're going to go out and have not only a long, fruitful career, but win championships and MVPs, you know, change the game. And I mean, you're right, G.A., he has exceeded probably a lot of reasonable expectations for what he'd be able to do, especially coming out straight out of high school with no college and no other way to really vet his game other than getting out there on the court as a teenager and proving it from day one.
You say proving it from day one, and now we're in season 16, and there was never a drop-off for LeBron. There was never a season of doubt of how great he was or is at this point still.
No, there really has not been when you look at the totality of what he's done. Even coming to L.A. initially, you know, they got off to a little bit of a slow start, but somewhat you had to expect that. This was a young team that hadn't won much, and then you basically have to have everybody redefine their game playing alongside LeBron, and then eventually they got into a good rhythm prior to that injury. But I think from an offensive standpoint, you know, he hadn't shot it well from the free throw line or the three, but overall he's had a tremendous impact offensively. And that's really been the problem with this young team, and LeBron, for that matter. They only play one side of the ball, and that's one reason right now they're on the outside looking in terms of postseason.
Well, speaking of which, despite another incredible statistical season from LeBron James, the Lakers are falling out of the playoff picture and fading fast after losing to the Phoenix Suns on Saturday night. Lakers are full 4.5 games behind the Spurs and the LA Clippers right now out west. It's not over yet for the Lakers, but LeBron James certainly understands how far the Lakers have to go in this final month.
We can't keep looking at the standings. The standings are going to be what they are no matter what. No matter if you win or lose, you can't. I've never been one to kind of look at the standings. I mean, you've known me for a while. So you just got to go out and do your job and try to do it at a high level throughout 48 minutes and then see what happens at the end of that. So you can't focus on the standings because they shift and move so much throughout the course of the season. I'm not here to harp on the negativity or the negative. We had opportunities. We could have played better here. We could have played better there. I mean, that's been throughout the whole season. It's been throughout the whole season. But right now, it's a tough loss. It's a tough loss for us. It was a tough loss for us last night. We knew we had gave so much to that game last night. We had to kind of find our own energy. I actually felt a lot better than I thought I was going to feel once I got on the floor. But as a collective group, we didn't always have it. A few of us had it at times, but it wasn't always a five-man collective, group.
LeBron talking about playing on the second night of a back-to-back. But, the Lakers were down by 18 at the start of the fourth quarter against the Suns, and their defense, it was non-existent. How much of a factor was that in that game for the Lakers just not showing up on defense?
Listen, it's been the issue for them, in essence, since LeBron has come back. Defensively, this team has just been porous. I mean, it's like they're out there warming up to start practice. You see they're running this pick and roll late on the closeout. You got to run that guy off the three-point shot. LeBron doesn't get there in time. And that's really the theme of this team from a defensive standpoint all season. They can score it. They haven't had a problem there. But just look at the lack of effort in transition defensively. Brandon Ingram, it's like he's stretching, getting ready to warm up in practice, doesn't get anywhere near the play. And it's not just him. Kuzma, LeBron, all these guys, the young guys and LeBron at this stage of his career, they've got to commit on that side of the ball. And that's why they struggle mightily, is that they're a group right now that only plays on the offensive end. They're giving up 122 points a game. They're 28th in defensive rating, defensive efficiency throughout the league. And so if that doesn't change, they not only have no chance this year, it's going to be hard for them to continue to improve when you want to play against these elite teams in that Western Conference.
It sounds like you say they're not going to make the playoffs. Sekou, where are you on that?
Look, the math is all against them right now. They got to go off and just play unbelievable basketball, the next couple of weeks to even put themselves back in a decent position. I think you nailed it, though, GA. The defensive lapses for this team, and if you look at it, it's not just one guy. It's a collective effort that has vanished. It's just not there defensively, and it's cost them. It's funny. We talk about the Boston Celtics having some similar issues where they have the kind of personnel that should be able to play at a high level defensively, but if you're not committed to it mentally, they watch the film. They go back and watch the tape after every game. They have to see this. We see it plain as day. When are they going to see it and change their ways? And if they don't, we all know what comes next. Yeah. You break this team up, you find a new coach, and everything else starts fresh this summer in L.A.
Find a new coach.